Well, hello there. This is me. I'm all on my own today without the help of producer Phil. So I don't get the fancy little questions on the screen, which you probably don't get to see anyway. I'm going to employ the sands of time, the black sands of time. If there's not a band called the Black Sands of Time by the end of this year, I'll be very, very disappointed. Hope you're all well. And let's dive in with some of these questions on bits of paper today. It's all right, I don't mind. Do you get on with your neighbours, asks TJ. Do they ever complain about the noise? Funny enough, I got really, really lucky with my neighbours. There's a couple of times I thought, oh, I'm going to move, and one of the reasons why I think I'm going to stay here, Christ, look at my state of my fucking hair today, Jesus. One of the reasons I'm going to stay here is because of my neighbours. My neighbours are absolutely brilliant, and I've been without a car for a lot of this year, and they've just been helping me so much. You really know when you live in a community. You know when you're home because you miss it when you go away. But you really know when you're in a community because the people just re-establish your faith in mankind, as does nature. This place is amazing. So yes, I am going to stay here. I do get on with my neighbours. When I first got this place, they'd asked me, you know, if you're in a band, are you going to be making noise? And I had to kind of fess up and go, look, I'm a musician. I'm going to be playing music. If you don't want to have music in the house, then you're probably going to have to get someone else in. And I was voted in by committee, by the community, because of my honesty, which, again, is a good reason to always be honest, whatever the outcome. I know I'm fidgety today. I'm very fidgety today because I'm doing this on my own, and I think I'm going to make mistakes. And that's why I'm going to keep going. And if I do make mistakes, I'm not going to know until right at the end when I realise it hasn't recorded and I've got to start it all again. And I don't bother. I just get the chainsaw out the garage and I go to town on public. Athena G, that's a fucking great name. Which is your favourite room in the house? And did we see it on tour? I was a bit disappointed that we didn't see any ghosts. The orbs are really interesting to me. Have you heard or seen anything else? Has anything gone missing? Does Maggie ever react to anything you can't see? Well, Athena, fuck yeah. My favourite room in the house is probably this one, the big one. It's the one where we play music in, and there's no TV in here. There's a big fire, and it's just got a great vibe. And this is where I get most of the kind of weirdness vibe. And if you can see over in that corner there's a bookcase there. And in that corner, I had a really strange happening, which kind of inspired the song Northern Spirit that we're going to be doing for the next album. And it was this night where I heard this huge bang on the wall, and I figured it was the neighbours banging on the wall because of the music. So I went to have a little... I'll take these off for a second. Better. I'm one of these guys that I need reading glasses, but I can't see beyond that far with them on. I thought the neighbours were complaining about the noise, so I went and checked over there to see if it was, and I had a listen. There was no noise, but this thump that I heard on the wall was like 3 big thumps, loud, really loud. I went to ask him the next day, you know, did you bang on the wall? No, no, we'd never do that. Anyway, I heard this thump, and then as I was there, I got this really weird kind of tingling feeling all over my body. Oh, I feel a bit of it now. But it's really weird tingling feeling all over my body. So I just stayed in the same place. And that door opened up and then closed again. I figured, hey, drafts, old house, you know, could be anything. So I just stood there and I was like, oh, that's so exciting. I said, you know, do it again. And it did it again. In which case I thought, you know, it's got to be drafts. So I went behind the door, I looked round, see if there's any windows open. There's no window open. As I'm standing behind the door, it does it a 3rd time. I mean, a lot of people have said they've seen and felt weird things in here, but that's the one for me that clinched it. That's hard to fucking argue with, that kind of shit. But yeah. Where were we? Have I seen, has anything gone missing? Funny enough, yeah. I think I told you once, didn't I? I was having an argument on my phone, on Twitter with someone, and I got really annoyed by it. And I just was like, I chucked my phone on the floor. And then the next day I couldn't find my phone anywhere. And it went for 3 days I didn't have a phone. And I'm like, well, where the fuck has it gone? I threw it on the floor, so it must be somewhere. And 3 days later, it turned up and it was under my pillow. And who the fuck would put a phone under the pillow? Especially someone with insomnia who doesn't want a phone fucking blinging all the time under that. But you'd never put a phone under a pillow, would you? It's not the sort of thing any normal person or abnormal person in this case would do. But it turned up 3 days later. So there's little things like that. Maggie reacts to loads of stuff that I can't see. She's forever in the bedroom, arguably my favourite room, actually, when I come to think of it. She's always looking around, checking things out, or her attention will go somewhere. And you just get that kind of funny, like, frisson, and I don't see anything, but you feel that I'm missing out on something. And I'm always like, oh, come on, I want to see as well. Include me, invite me to your supernatural paranormal party. And I never get an invite. So yeah, it's all down to Maggie, that one. Lizzie asks, I love your self-portrait. Which one? There's been a couple now. Anyway, I'd bundles of character and personality behind it. I'm saying this as someone who studies art. I really think you've got a talent there. My question is, do you have any paintings of your own on your walls? Also, do you have painted portraits of anyone else? I don't like painting, Lizzie. Unfortunately, I love art, but I don't like creating art. I used to do it when I was a kid because it used to help me get by when people fighting in the house, or, I had a very strange childhood that I won't go into now, but will do if pressed. But it was very violent, and there was always a lot of really awful stuff going on. And I used to run to my room and just paint my way out of the unpleasant situation, paint my way to somewhere more pleasant. So maybe I just consider that art reminds me of that. I've got an association attached to it. But I don't really enjoy painting, unfortunately. I don't know what self-portrait you're talking about, because there's two. There's the first one that I did when I thought, someone asked me to do some artwork. They knew that I did artwork, asked me to do some artwork. I figured, great, I could do with some extra cash. I'll do this portrait and then I'll sell it. Now, it was my first portrait since, well, it's my first ever portrait, but my first painting since I did Caffeine Bomb in 1991 or something. And it turned out all right. What I saw in my head came out on the canvas, and I thought that was good. I'm thinking, well, they're a pain in the arse to do, but I could make a living out of it, and I can work at home, so I'll give it a go. And I put it on sale, and to say that it didn't fetch very much money would be a very small percentage of the disappointment, the crushing disappointment at the final figure that I received for my original artwork. Basically, you can't make money in art. I don't know how people can. I'm sure some people can, but it broke my heart. And from then, I just didn't want to do any more artwork. And then Dante asked me to do some artwork for the album. So I did the other self-portrait of me playing the guitar that I think we're raffling now. Get that, because there's not going to be very many. So I would enter that raffle if I was you. And I did these pictures that were supposed to be the inside sleeve, and I did them so that my hands would be on either side, and it was a collage. And they didn't go on the inside sleeve, they went on the CD or something, so the whole point of it being hand-sized is kind of lost. But I do like them too, and I've got them both on my walls. I'll show you in a little while, but not right now, because I can't be bothered. My head's all over the place today, so if I waffle and I go off, I do waffle. If you're still listening to me, then you probably don't mind me waffling, but these ones might be a little bit left and right of centre. But yeah, keep going, keep piling through, as they say, because that's how we get through life, isn't it? That you just do it, and then before you know it, it's bedtime. Boom! Victory! Damien666 says, how is your vinyl collection organised? Alphabetically? Genre? Any you don't play to keep as collector's items? No, I don't keep any of them as collector's items. I'm not really into collecting vinyl, apart from I like to buy it and play it. And my vinyl collection is purely for my enjoyment to play. Alphabetise them? You kidding? There's fucking hundreds of the fucking things. I wish I could. I wish I had the patience to alphabetize my record collection, and then I could go and find whatever I want in minutes as opposed to hours. Genre? Fuck. Most of my records defy genre, and I don't keep it organised. I just have a bunch of records. I have like 2 little boxes by my record player here that of the stuff that I've been kind of getting into recently, or stuff that's arrived recently. For the most part, you know, the weird thing about having a record collection for any amount of time is you kind of know where things are. And I don't know how I know, but if I want to find the good rats in my hundreds of records, I kind of know not only where the good rats albums are dotted, but the specific one I'm looking for, and 9 times out of 10 I can pretty much nail it. It's a funny old thing. No, I will never ever live long enough to alphabetize or organize in order a genre my record collection, because I'm fucking shit at things like that. My life is chaos. It's beautiful, kind of poetic chaos, but it is very much chaos, and long may it continue. Dan asks, can you also do an episode solely on your vinyl collection? Tell you what, these questions are coming up in the right order, aren't they? Yeah, Dan. Okay, tell me how I would do it. Tell me how I could do an episode talking about vinyl, because I've got hundreds of vinyl, and every single one of them could be, I could narrow it down to about 10 minutes an album if I was going to talk about the albums. Probably 2 minutes if I was going to really do a brief overview of every album. You're still talking about a day and a half's worth of fucking film in there. I'd enjoy it more than I think you'd enjoy it. But yeah, I'd love to talk about my vinyl collection. That's one of the most interesting things about my life, is the records I've collected over the years, and how at different stages of my experiences I've got soundtracks to match the experience. So I pick a record up and, it doesn't matter if I like it or not. If it reminds me of something unpleasant and I'm not mentally ready to go there, I can't play it, because it's indelibly etched within the notes of the music what was going on in my life. And that's why I really love vinyl, because it's tangible. It's a real connection to things that have happened, and not just the music. It can be a cover, it can be some of the mad shit scribbled on the inside. Any vinyl collectors out there remember Porcupine Cut? The Porcupine Cut was the runoff on a record. You used to, in the mastering process, must have been manufacturing process, they would put little signatures, and Porcupine Cut was this thing that was on a load of early 80s albums, and then they'd leave little messages on them. And every single one of them is hand done. These things aren't generic, because vinyl is still made, every single vinyl separately. And I love that. I love the idea. There's loads of crazy things that you can do on vinyl that I really want to explore. Going off on a vinyl tangent, and I'll reel myself back in with a question from Ian, who asks, do you buy your own art? Good order of questions. Do you buy your own art? Have you been gifted most pieces? What's your favourite piece? Are you planning on releasing any more paintings, prints? I don't know. There's talk of releasing prints of things, but I don't know. And like I said, I sold that one piece of art, and I was so disappointed with how little it made that I'm not really that interested in doing any more, to be honest. But I buy most of my artwork. I've been gifted some pieces, but I buy it all. It's a real passion of mine, and I love having original signed prints. Obviously, I really love having original art. And what's my favourite piece? I don't know. I'd have to do a proper podcast and think about that, because I'm not sure how you could pick a favourite piece of art, like picking a favourite song. There's too much information goes in every one of them. There's too much of your personal inventory in every single piece of art that I collect. And I'm looking at one here by Pangborn. I wish I could. It's too far away. Can't get it. I'll talk about the ones on the screen. There's that one, a Joffre Bosch heart one, which is really nice. I like them all. I don't have a prized vinyl. There's vinyl that I've wanted for ages. There's still a couple of bits and pieces that I want, and when I get like a windfall, I'll buy like a really expensive vinyl. And usually it's like, I won't spend more than £100 on vinyl, and I understand that that's actually not that bad. I've got some people that I know that collect Wild Arts vinyl and have spent way more than that. I won't even talk about how much fucking Wild Arts vinyl goes for. Jesus Christ, it's insane. But I don't really have a prized vinyl. I mean, if I thought about it, if we do a vinyl podcast, and I'd have to have Phil here to help me with that one, because I'd have to have someone to just keep prodding me awake, because I bore myself senseless a lot of the times when I'm talking about stuff that interests me, because I think it's going to bore you, and it might well do, or it might not. Who knows? I don't know. Who's telepathic these days? I also noticed a lot of Exorcist artwork and memorabilia in your house. Is that one of your all-time favourite horrors, or what was the horror that started your obsession? A fellow horror-obsessed fan. Well, Darth Elvis, this is a good one. I like this one. The Exorcist is my favourite horror film of all time still, and there's been many contenders to the throne. The Exorcist for me represents a certain type of horror that's played seriously. It could be a serious, like a drama, but it has these horrific elements just shoehorned violently in. And I like that it takes itself very seriously. And there's been some great movies that have done the same thing, almost to the same standard. I really loved Martyrs. I think Martyrs is up there with The Exorcist. We're talking like 10 out of 10 horror. Martyrs had that sadistic streak, which is born of making a fantastic film with a great writer, great director, great cinematography, and then still making it horrific. Squirt blood all over a cheap film set, and I'm all for that. But the 10 out of 10 horrors have got to have something very special, and Martyrs does that. Also, a movie called Antlers does that. It was a couple of years ago. Antlers really got up there for me. It was a fantastic film. Fucking really effective. Serious. There's a few movies like that. Maybe I could do a podcast about 10 out of 10 horrors, what I consider to be 10 out of 10 horrors. Because if I thought about that, there is some absolute corkers. I think The Substance, although not really played seriously, that one. The Substance was up there. I think that I would give that 10 out of 10 as well. And Lucio Fulci, The Beyond, give that 10 out of 10. Maybe I'll do a podcast on 10 out of 10 horrors. But The Exorcist wasn't the movie that got me started in horror, obviously, because coming from England, at the time that I was a young'un, The Exorcist was banned in England. You couldn't actually get it. You could be arrested and fined, if not imprisoned, for having a copy of The Exorcist in your house on VHS when video first came out. Even the book was banned. It's so weird when you look at rules now. I mean, I see the laws on cannabis really relaxing, and some friends of mine are saying that with this one company that goes and gets your medical records, and then you get sent legal, not free, but legal cannabis, and you just pay your 50 quid and you don't have to go and meet some dodgy bloke in an alley anywhere. And I like that idea. I like the fact that laws are always changing, but especially for movies. The stuff that I got in trouble with, the video nasty stuff, and the police getting around, is all on YouTube now in really good proper quality as well, not like the grainy ones that I used to trade. But The Exorcist, you could get a stern fucking up the arse with a raggy end of a truncheon for owning a copy of The Exorcist.